This will be the last video for lesson 24. I'm actually not going to do the application problem on this one. There is a reason in terms of us being able to utilize it, but it's, in my opinion, not necessary. In terms of the word problems, again, read them, do your best to understand them, and do your best to apply them. Now, what we're going to talk about is eccentricity and developing the equation of a certain type of conic given the information. So, remember eccentricity in terms of the ellipse was E equals to C over A. Well, this is actually the same for the hyperbola. So, for question 13, they're giving me a few pieces of particular information, okay? And the pieces of information they gave me is E is equal to 3 over 2. My center is at 0, 0, and a foci, okay, or a focus, I should say, is at 6, 0. So, if I know that these three things, and I want the equation, I want, well, in this case it's x, I'm going to go ahead and do x minus h squared divided by a squared plus or minus. I'm not sure how plus or minus, not sure how. Again, I can kind of define those right now, but I'm not going to. B squared is equal to 1. I want this equation to be satisfied. I don't know if those are plus or minuses. I also want the equation E equals C over A to be satisfied. And lastly, I want the equation C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared to be satisfied. Again, these are all the pieces of information for a hyperbola. If this was some other kind of conic, I'd have to use the other information. Well, let's go through this, okay? First things first. I know that eccentricity is supposed to be equal to C over A. So this number right here is supposed to be C divided by A. That'll be able to give me this A value. You would like to think that C is 3 and A is 2, but that would be wrong. Okay, again, that would be wrong. My focus is supposed to be 6, 0. And remember, the focus actually corresponds to what C is really equal to. So that means that C is really equal to 6. Why is it 6? Well, because it's 6 distance from the center. Okay? Again, the foci is a C distance away from the center. So, if that's the case, I know C is 6. If C is 6, that means that I have 3 over 2. My eccentricity is equal to a C value of 6 over A. That'll be able to find my A value. If you want to do cross multiplying or whatever it is that you want to do to solve for A, it's going to be 3A is equal to 12, and then A is equal to 4. I now have my A value. Okay, I now have my A value. Well, if I have my C value and my A value, based on utilizing this equation up here, I can now use this equation right here to find out what B is. So I have 36, 6 squared, is equal to 16, 4 squared, plus B squared. I'm going to go ahead and solve for B squared. B is going to be equal to, subtracting the 16, get 20, the square root of 20. So that's what my B value is going to be. Well, the last thing I need to worry about is H and K. Well, they gave me the center is 0, 0. They gave me the center is 0, 0. So the equation of this will be, okay, x squared divided by, wait a second, and then it's going to be y squared divided by something, and then equal to 1. Where does the A go and where does the B go? And what's negative? Okay, this is very important for us to identify. The focus is changing in terms of the x value. So I'm going to have something that looks like this. There's my center. The focus is 6 units over here. That means I should be looking something like this and like this. Okay? That's what it should look like. Where my y values are imaginary in the middle, are not possible. So my y value is going to have the negative in front of it. My x value is going to be the value in positive. And the A value then will correspond to the x's. So this will be 16, and this will be 20. And this will actually be the equation of the hyperbola that I should be playing with. Again, there is one more question in your notes. I would suggest that you take a look at it going through your note or your textbook, but honestly, again, it's really not necessary. Just make sure when you get to the word problems in your notes that you look to the pictures. There are some pictures in your book that will be very, very helpful, already drawn for you. Okay? That finishes lesson 24. Make sure you practice these things, all of them. Parabolas, hyperbolas, and ellipses, because they can get very, very nasty. You know, completing the square. That's really the only math that you have to do if you're not careful.